Good evening. This is the Town of Ossining Planning Board for November 6, 2019. We'll just vote on the table and introduce ourselves.
Carolyn Stevens, board member.
Shing Wan Chen, Chair.
Jim Bassinas, board member.
Dan Ciarci, consulting engineer to the planning board.
Sandy Nelly, secretary of the planning board.
David Stallman, town planning consultant.
Kathy Zalantis, planning board attorney.
Great. And the first item on the agenda is the MGM subdivision, 5 Hawks Avenue, proposed 2-lot subdivision. I believe we're continuing the public hearing.
I think we're opening.
Opening it, okay.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Tom Kerrigan, representative of Site Design Consultants, the engineers on this project. I figured I'd give a brief overview for the public that are here tonight. This is a proposed 2-lot subdivision of an existing lot located at 5 Hawks Avenue. There is an existing building located on the property that will be removed, and a new building constructed in a similar location to that house, with a driveway connecting at a similar location, and a new building located further to the north, with a driveway further to the north and behind that existing building. There is wetland area on the site that we have done our best to limit the disturbance to it and the buffer. Both of the buildings are outside of the buffer. There's just a section of driveway that crosses through that area. We've received comments. We've provided, well, since the last submission, we have provided a mitigation plan to this disturbance as well as a landscape plan. And we've received comments from Mr. Solman's office that we will address regarding the spacing of the spruce trees located, provided a screening along the southern property line, the property to the south. That's pretty much all the changes to the project since the last time we were here. I will, however, mention, I noticed in the last comment in his letter is about the Architectural Review Board. We have tonight with us, it wasn't submitted with us, renderings of 3 alternatives for the houses that we can distribute to you.
Can I just distribute this? This was to give an idea of houses.
It's fine.
So I have a question about sort of the how that process, because I know this board serves the Architectural Review Board.
Thanks, Dave.
Do you have a spare copy for the board member?
I have some more copies.
Do we get site plan approval and then, or subdivision approval and then Architectural Review Board? How does it work?
You can do it like that, sure.
Okay. Okay. So that's pretty much it.
Should be.
As far as the changes.
May I have?
Oh, that was the one? Sorry.
Actually, you have another one. We have another board member.
I think that's all I have right now.
I'll give it to Sandy.
For the file.
Yeah.
I get more to you. They're under, just under 3,000 square foot houses. There's different, they're very traditional type houses with 2-car garages, and they would be, we'd have to go to, I guess, we have to present that to for approval.
All right, there's an architectural review
Architectural
board
review
approval,
board.
so, and they're a very tough board, I understand.
Very
Architectural
tough?
review board.
Okay. Well, we'll try to,
For the same.
hopefully we'll want to be able to sell them and be attractive. So we have a choice there, and we would, there's plans to that without drawing finished documents to present to the building department. We tried to give an idea of what the type of house, not going to be anything ultra contemporary. They should blend in with the surrounding areas. Colors are always subject to what the Architectural Review Board would like to see, and textures. So, we'll present that and hopefully could please them.
Okay, does staff have any comments at this time?
I have a memo with some comments. Tom referred to it. Comments are getting fewer and fewer. The first is on page 2, and this is regarding the tree replacement of 50% of the caliper branches. And going down to the last paragraph of number 1 on page 2, as Tom said, they've submitted a buffer enhancement plan and a landscape plan, which is all very good. they need to provide more information showing, they're showing which trees are coming down, but they need to do a listing of those trees along with their species and sizes, provide a total of the caliper inches proposed to be removed, and a plan showing the on-site replacement of 50% of said caliper inches. Or if that can't be done, there are other means to satisfy this section of the code, like having the town board approve planting them off-site or putting money into a tree bank fund. So that needs to be done.
I believe the landscape plan was designed with this in mind, but we'll make sure we include on the landscape plan the calculations to show how that was accomplished.
Great, great. As we mentioned last time, a drafted legal conservation easement to be filed with the subdivision plat should be submitted for the review and approval of the town attorneys. A comment we made last time regarding a different kind of spruce tree that was being proposed, they should be at least they should be about 15 feet on center instead of closer together because they'll crowd each other out. Tom has a bit of work to do with respect to stopping sight distance. I'm on number 4 on top of page 3. And I mentioned to Tom that he can call our office to get clarification on this if there's any need for clarification. And then the last comment is regarding the need for architectural review board approval. That's it.
Dan, do you have any comments at this time?
On the prior set of plans from September, we did issue a memorandum, and the consultant has subsequently revised those, and the set is currently before you. Those revisions are in there.
Great. Any comments from the board? Are there any members of the public interested in this matter? Wish to speak? Seeing none?
Oh, no. Here's a gentleman.
Name and address?
John Leslie, Dale Avenue. I lived at my residence just across the street from Sassy Deli for about 40 years. My wife lived in the house all her life, and her father, who just passed away, lived there for close to 70 years. During that time, they became very good friends with some of the former owners of that property, the Thomases, who had subsequently sold it to the current resident that's in the back, borders the brook and the cemetery. I was told, my wife and my mother-in-law, who has since passed, said that when Mrs. Thomas wanted to build a residence for her son, Joey, on that wetlands area, it was rejected. And they subsequently had to build it where it currently exists, that Gambrel-style house. So if this proposal is to be put on what was then termed wetlands, and it was rejected, why is it now being accepted? I don't know if I'm totally on the mark here or not, but that's what I was...
There's a wetland delineated clearly on the plan. There's a 100-foot buffer area outside of the wetland delineated on the plan. And as the gentleman said before, both homes would be outside of the wetland and the wetland buffer. So there's a dry part of the land, and that's where the homes would be located. It's not all wetland, but it's clearly shown on the plan.
Yeah, well, to your knowledge, was that entire piece of property the ownership of the Thomas family at the time?
We don't have that information.
Because I'm making an assumption that maybe they would have taken that chunk of land and found what is currently being proposed, and why wouldn't they have built it there? So I'm just saying it just didn't look, doesn't sound so in line with what had occurred in the past.
Do you know which board it appeared before?
Well, no, but I can't. Well, what I might say is you get the date of the current Gambrel house that was built there, and try to just backdate it a little bit, because at the time they were exploring a planning for that and seeking approval from that current board, which was rejected. That's how you might research
Yeah,
it.
some of this doesn't make sense because in order to put a second home on the property, it would have to be a subdivision. And Nothing has come before this board on this property over the last 4 years, except for a prior application by
Did you say 4 years?
40,
40?
except for a prior application by Mr. Jamola.
We did not buy it from the Thomases. As far as I understand, Thomases lived across the street adjacent to Rinaldi's building.
You know the small white house, is that the one that you're saying would be demolished?
There's a small house.
The small white house right at,
Right
right,
driveway there.
right by
where
the
we-
driveway.
Yeah.
That was the Thomas residence. They want, the parents who lived there wanted to build a house for their son in the back on the, what was, I was told, the wetlands.
But we didn't purchase it from Thomas, so.
Oh, I know that, I know that, but I'm just
Okay.
saying that at the time it was rejected because, for wetlands
Well,
reasons.
There were 3 houses originally approved, and now it's only 2 houses, so that had to do with the wetland and the wetland buffer that was created now. So originally it was a 3-lot subdivision, it's now only 2 lots. The old house will be taken down, and everything will be to the, I guess that would be to the west of the wetland buffer. I don't have a pointer, but you can see it up on the, could I just walk up? I don't know
Yeah,
if I
sure,
can-
go ahead.
I don't know if I can get through that way.
Use a mouse.
So it's a pointer?
It's a mouse.
Yeah.
A mouse.
So you can
Is
see
it
the-
live or
You
dead?
can move, you can move around and.
I could leave it in here.
Yep.
Put it down.
Put it on the
table.
desk,
yes.
Yeah.
Where are we? All right, see by that cursor right here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, there's one house here,
yeah.
which is very close to where that existing house is.
Yeah.
Okay, and we had somebody renting that for the last, I don't know, 7 years. And another house right behind that. We had a third house in here with a road and a cul-de-sac. That was all taken out. So right here, we met with the the Conservation Board on the weekend, and this is all to be left green in a, I don't know, is it a kind of trust with the town or?
There'd be a conservation
A
easement.
conservation easement. So, in terms of wetlands, we're, I don't know where the house, the Thomases were contemplating, but, you know, that's a good chunk of, that property is, it was well over, let me put it this way, the 3 lots had ample space to put the 3 lots within code, and when we deleted the third house, that took us completely out of the wetlands, and then instead of a major road with a cul-de-sac, there's just 2 individual driveways, which is very comparable to what's developed on that street now and prior to that. You know, there's some subdivisions up further that have multiple longer roads and multiple houses, but this is just 2 houses, and they have individual driveways. So that's all I can say, but, you know, it was not purchased from the Thomas family. There was a Joe Thomas?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
I know the name.
Could you show where your house is on the map?
Even on there?
Is it even on that map?
Well, let's see, where's Dale?
If you're across from.
It was down further.
Very bottom
I'm
of
right
the
across from
page.
Sassy. It's a Mansard.
The White House.
It's in that intersection further down on the bottom of the page.
At the
Toward
bottom.
the bottom of the page.
So,
Dale, isn't
Oh, I
Dale,
think I was looking at it when you,
isn't that Dale there?
Yes. Right where the cursor is now is probably what you're talking about.
well, let's put it this way, can you hit Sassy Deli? Is that where it's at, right there?
Sassy
yep.
Deli.
Well, and then there's one across, where's the brook? Which line is the brook? Across the street, though, all the way across the street. Is that it right there?
Yeah.
I believe it.
All right, so I'm the one that's just down, right? They'll go down,
One more.
One more.
right there.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Right. But at this, at the present time, as the drawings indicate, they're meeting all the requirements of the.
Yes, they are,
Right.
they are.
Okay, so we don't really know what you're referring to back there, but it'll probably be different board, or it depends on the design of the other, proposed building at the time, so we don't know.
I will say that the the Gambrel house that was built there, that is there now, is raised because the flooding is tremendous back there when you get, I'm not talking about Hurricane Floyd, which was monstrous, but even just your heavy, very heavy storms, that backyards of those residences that are just north of that is just flooded. So, I don't know how you're gonna mitigate that.
Well, does the applicant want to make a comment on that?
The house that is rented now, I mean, that's not a Gambrel house, it's just a.
The White House, no,
Yeah.
I know that, and
Okay.
that's above, that house would not necessarily be affected by floods. The backyard would.
Well, we had a test, we had dig test holes. There's a mowed area right behind the house, mowed one, it's been mowed forever. And they had test holes that had to go down 8 feet. We didn't encounter water or rock
We did hit water.
at 8 feet.
That used to be a dam, by the way.
Dam?
That was sort of like a reservoir of sorts there, and you can still see the rock wall that was used to, I guess, hold back the waters. If you,
You're talking about much further where the,
no,
where the Kill Brook is?
well,
We're quite a bit away from the Kill Brook.
well, you know, it's sort of like, it forks, okay? There's, on one side of the Gambrel house, there's, which comes down at the base of the cemetery, that's one side. And then on the other side of the Gambrel house is the Kill Brook that comes down from another direction, from up, you know,
I
up
you
Pine
point that out.
Avenue.
I'm not familiar, we've been back and forth to that property for.
Yeah, but it
Last
forks, but the
8, 9
dam,
years.
the wall is there. And I always wondered if across the street, I think, I'm not sure if it's this gentleman's house, if that little boxed house, if that was some sort of a water control.
Never knew what that was.
It's like an old well there.
All right, I didn't know if it was a control valve or not.
There-
It's still there.
There is a culvert that was located up closer towards the cemetery, which is actually flowing through that wetland easement. And that's basically all the water from up off of
Like
one
Torview
thirty-four.
around there.
What's that?
That comes down around
Well,
Torview.
It comes right, if I could point to that again, if we could borrow that.
Sure.
Sorry. Okay, here we go, right here. Right in here, there's a concrete culvert, and it comes down from all of this property here, and it runs through this area, down through Kilbrook, and down to the Kilbrook, and we had the conservation people out there on the weekend, and Steve Marino from Tim Miller Associates, and what that water is doing in that easement that we left, basically filters out any impurities, because there's reeds and there's growth in there, and by passing through that easement, there's certain trees that grow and are nourished by the water before it ends up in the Kilbrook, but it's being basically cleansed by whatever is gonna be the wetland easement. It passes through that and in, so, and you're saying there's where up here, where's the house you're talking about? Because I'm not privy to where that house is. As far as I know, the Thomases were right here, just adjacent to, right in here, adjacent to, Louis Rinaldi has an
I know-
office building there.
Yeah.
And they were across from there, that I know of.
No, they lived in the house that you're gonna tear down, that's where the Thomases.
That's not a Gamble house.
No,
Okay.
the Thomases, in lieu of, by way of rejection by the board, saying you can't build on what was termed wetlands, the son, Joey Jr., I guess it would be, built this Gambrel-style house that is there now. It's a contemporary Gambrel, which is on a raised, you see, it's up on a
You
hill.
talking about in the back?
In the back.
Oh, yeah, well, that house is right, you could walk right to Kilbrook. That's very close to the Kilbrook.
And along his property is that would have been the dam structure because it was at some point, I don't know if they used to, I don't know the full history of it, but maybe they pulled ice out of there or something.
Well, that house is right in here. And the Killbrook is running right along here. That house is almost on top of the Killbrook. And it's, so I'm not sure, this area here, right here where we are, this is all lawn in here, all, if you went in there, you could walk, it's not wet at all. The property then goes up like a knoll and then over and then drops down at the Killbrook. So that house is way back. Again, you see this long road here? There's a road here, a road that goes here and here. I think that's the only other house that's back here.
Is that the dirt road by your house?
Stan, yeah, that's the driveway, and that's Stan's house.
That's my house.
Yeah, now we're talking about your house.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if it had a gambrel roof, but that's the only other house.
Isn't
But
that a
that's
gambrel?
way back, a lot
It's like a
closer.
barn, it's like a
Yeah,
barn.
yeah.
All right, but that is right off the Killbrook. It's up higher, but right down, you can walk right to the Killbrook. So we're not even close to that.
Okay. All right, so it doesn't, is there any other comments from the public
Yeah.
we needed at this time?
Well, go ahead.
Well, I'm at Elizabeth Maripodi, and I'm at 1 Hawks Avenue, and I've lived there for 46 or 45, 6 years. And I'm concerned because the ground soaks up the water now, and then there'll be this extra house, and I'm not blaming his house only, but Rinaldi's supposed to also do that development above, and that stream that goes down from the Torview area goes into Kilburn, and I'm just concerned about water. And then all the building above, there's also other building above the road, and I just want to know how the water's going to be directed, like if it, it's kind of.
Yeah, well, each one of the developments have to take into account the amelioration of those issues. But the applicant wishes to respond to that?
Yeah, so we've prepared a SWIP, a stormwater management plan, which the post-develop condition results in a attenuation of all flows, so it would be actually less stormwater leaving the site than there is now, based with our new plan. We also have incorporated a swale along the southern property line so that any water coming from the north side or from any development on this property would be directed directly into the Dale Brook. So you are to the south of the property?
South of that roadway, that driveway that goes in, that goes by Dan's property.
Right, so we would incorporate a swale which would prevent runoff from going south and towards your property.
Right, but now, say when it's really heavy rain, the water comes down off the road and it comes, and I can actually see ruts that go through from the property.
Right now there's nothing. Right now there would be nothing to stop that from happening. We would be putting something in that would direct it away and convey it.
Like a culvert kind of thing?
The swale, so like almost like just a grass channel basically that sort of captures it and channelizes it towards the.
And where would it be?
Following the southern property line towards the back. So, this Hawks Avenue is at the high point, the brook is at the low point. It would take it. It starts pretty much from.
Can you show it with a mouse, please?
Yes. Let me switch to. Okay, so the swale starts right around here, and it carries runoff. And it takes it from here and brings it down into the brook back here. So it's about 5 to 10 feet off of that southern property line, flowing right to left.
How high would it be?
The swale?
Yeah.
Forget the exact dimensions. I believe it is a foot deep or maybe 6 inches deep, but then fairly wide. So the idea is that it's not very perceivable, but it has the capacity to convey runoff.
Well, did you say, were you motioning about 5 feet, maybe 4 feet?
About how high would you say?
No, it's just follows the contours all the way along. You asking about the depth of it?
No, I thought you were gonna build some sort of.
It's by grading the site, it creates like a channel that directs it to the back.
Okay, any other comments from the public?
Yes, John Giorgiani, 4 Hawks Avenue. I live directly across from where the home is going to be demolished. And the last time I had asked if one of the new homes was going to be in the same spot as the one that's going to be removed. And they said that it might be set further back. Do you have a specific location of where that home is going to be?
As I recall, your concern was with the driveway being
Right.
across from yours?
Right.
Yeah, so we looked at trying to shift the driveway further to the north to be more offset from yours, but we can only get it to be a little bit offset. And because Hawks Avenue is a DOT road, they don't like it, if you're gonna offset it, they want significant offset or directly across. So we had to make it directly across from
And
yours.
so, and the house is going to be in the same spot?
The house is roughly in the same spot. It's a little further back. It's not directly on top of, but it's generally in the same location.
All right, and I had asked about the tree line. You said that the tree line was...
Along which property?
The
Along Hawks
existing
Avenue?
tree line that's there.
Along Hawks Avenue?
Right.
We are preserving that to the greatest extent we can. If you look at this plan, so the most of the trees coming out are around where this driveway is and where this driveway is here. So nothing significant here because there's already existing driveway, but most of the trees are coming out kind of where this driveway is connecting. But
I don't see why there's any trees should be removed.
well, you know the area. There's no way to take a driveway through that cluster of trees. There's just not enough room to grade it.
I'm talking about closer to where I am.
Oh, I don't believe there are. There may be.
That's a pretty, if you're gonna put the house in the same spot, pretty much.
There
That's
may
a
be
pretty big opening
yeah.
there.
There may be one coming out in that area or a couple coming out where the driveway actually and the house is going to be. For example, these two right here are coming out because, as I said, the house is getting pushed further back, and there are trees in that area. The house is, I believe, bigger than what is there as well. So, along Hawks Avenue, most of the trees that are coming out are where that new driveway is connecting to the north.
So not the existing driveway that's there. You're talking about the new driveway.
Right, the new driveway.
It's further east.
Right.
Further to the north.
Further west? Further down the road.
Further up the road. To the north.
Up the road?
Up the road, to the north.
So what's the price range of these homes?
We haven't set that yet, we gotta go with a realtor, and we have the sizes, they're gonna be under 3,000 square feet, probably within 25 to 2,700 square feet, 2 houses.
So there's only gonna be 2 new homes
Correct.
on these lots?
Correct.
And there can never be more than 2 homes?
Correct. We are placing the buffer area, a significant portion of it at least, within a conservation easement, which would prevent any future development.
Okay, thanks.
I like
Let's
the,
give another person.
Oh,
go ahead.
Daniel Kang, 3 Hawks Avenue. So I'm the property on the south, adjacent to the property line. I feel like I'm the closest, but I'm the least concerned. Should I be more concerned? I've only been here 16 years. We moved in on Halloween night, 16 years ago. Anyway, yeah, I feel like if they're meeting all the regulations, it's like there's no point in me opposing 2 houses, modern, that's fine. I guess my ask, I think I mentioned it last time, something a little bit more practical. On the south side of the property line, if I could request a fence, I think fences.
Yes,
maybe-
we have added screening along that property line.
Okay.
Want to show the landscape plan?
Yeah. I have printouts of it.
Okay.
The previous set or the current one?
Current set.
This current set.
No, this on the computer is the previous set.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
We meant to get it uploaded, but something happened.
I have a printout of it on this board
Okay.
here. So, we're proposing planting trees along here and along here to provide additional natural screening, and along here.
And the swell that you're talking about will be on
Yes,
this side
yes.
of the.
Yes, see the SW, that carries all the way down.
So I guess it's fine. One question about the swell, you said it'll be just gravity fed like this. And I'm sure you know the property well, that it actually elevates up in this area.
Yes.
So what are you
I should have did this
planning?
upside down, I think.
Okay.
Not that much. So we will have to regrade that area and kind of cut into that hillside a
So
little bit
you'll have to
on
make
our
it-
side, not on your
Okay,
side, yes.
alright.
We'll make sure we steer clear.
Infiltrators.
Infiltrate?
Right, so as you can see, we're gonna have to tie back the
They're
grades
all-
here a
they're
little
all over
bit
the place.
to we're gonna bring it back this way a little bit, take out a couple of trees, carry it
Just the
through.
swell. He's
We
also
will, we're not
collecting-
going to disturb
collecting water on site.
any of the trees on your side of the property.
I think that's it, but is it possible to request a traditional fence along the south side, south property line, along with the planting of the trees?
Is that really within our current consideration?
Well,
I feel like it's just easier to ask before the new owners come
Question.
Well,
in.
yeah, I mean, if the
Yeah.
applicant is amenable to it.
What kind of fence are you talking about?
Just, yeah, I think that kind of shows a clear border, it has been an issue.
There, I believe that there are posts over
Yeah,
now.
we put posts in, just like posts, just to give a little bit of a property line so that we know where to cut the grass. But it's not, it's just like a post and rail, it would be just something very simple. Post
We're
and
putting
rail.
shrubs along there, we're already at,
Yeah,
the expenditure for what we've done to this date is, we have to still deal with landscaping. And you already started putting posts, so I don't know what you were presenting, so to have the cost of a post now with everything else we're doing, it's a no-win for us, trust
Okay.
it. We've been in this for now 8, 9 years,
Right.
and if we had a third house, which I'm not saying that would have made the difference, but would have helped.
okay,
be
well, I
able to
thought I
afford
just
it.
asked.
Because that property to the north and to the east is a conservation easement forever. You can't do anything with it.
Right, right, no, I understand.
And all the
that, I
town's
understand.
drainage is going through that to get to Kilbrook, so
Yeah,
for all intents and purposes.
Landscaping forms a delineation.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
I'd be more inclined
Yeah.
to lean your way if they were encroaching on, towards your
Yeah, how about-
property in
Sure.
some way, shape, or form.
Sure, so that's fine. Would you be able to go back to that other drawing that shows the property line? So how about this, if I may do this, how about this, would it be possible to request something in this section by any chance?
That's the wetland buffer.
That is a what, okay.
Yeah, so
So just leave it as is.
from this,
That's even in the wetlands.
Okay,
this dashed line
Yeah,
here is the
there.
buffer that we were pulling everything
okay.
out.
So that's all I have, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a long-standing concern also that I've voiced at, when you've had meetings regarding the Stony Lodge property. Being where I'm located, we had sewer issues where the manholes would actually overflow, and there was, it impacted my residents. What with the possibility of the increased volume coming from whatever however Stony Lodge, that story will end up, plus the additional houses up in Mancuso, plus these two residences. And by the way, are these going to be town sewer or septic?
Town sewer.
Okay, so so my concern is, prior to these Mancuso and your proposal and the Stony Lodge issue, we had these periodic flooding, which the town had to come down and rotor-rooter out in front of my house and in front of Conti's Deli to break up, there were things like basketballs and
In storm sewer?
in the waste sewer, in the center of the street.
Sanitary sewer?
Sanitary sewer, yeah. So, when they put all those condos across 9, and it gets routed down, I assume, down our way, what I was wondering is that the existing sewer line going down Dale Avenue is an ancient one. So it's like, if larger waste lines were put down to accommodate the condos, and then it gets funneled down, shrunken down into an antiquated line that is not as big to handle it, it's like we're being nickel and dimed with additional sewage coming our way. And so that's I want somebody to tell me definitively, if the existing sewer line is gonna be able to handle this stuff, because our experience has been, since I've lived at that house for close to 40 years, it's been every couple of years, and there was a point where they had to come down. We would call them up and they'd come in, they'd root her out in the middle of the night. And I just don't want to deal with that. It was coming to a lawsuit, but I couldn't afford the attorney for this. When I got like 18 buckets of sewage, 5-gallon buckets of sewage that leached into my basement. And I went to it ended up me going to the town's, some law firm, village or town law firm in White Plains. And it's like, I went in there alone, which was stupid, but it lets you know that you're the small guy. And then I was told when the new line that came down Pine Avenue.
But you do realize that that's not really this applicant's issue. You're discussing a problem that might possibly exist from another development further up the line. And that's not reported.
Well, the sewer line, it comes down Hawks.
Which the other developer will have to take into account when they make their plans. But this is not the concern of this particular applicant.
But is he going to feed into the same line? Yes? So if he is, that's why I'm saying you get nickel and dime.
You also feed, I mean, everybody in the area will feed in the same line, but you're describing a situation that's not relevant to this particular applicant.
Why not? Because they're going to add sewage from these residences into a line that has historically caused problems.
Applicant, do you wish to respond?
Just to make the point, it's only one additional because there already is one on there.
Okay.
So, yeah, and to your point, one additional house would not create a significant enough addition to really hinder the issues that you're talking about. And also, if the issue is, as you describe it, it's a clogging issue, that's probably not a capacity issue, and therefore the capacity is there for this one. Although I don't, that's up for the municipality to decide if that's okay.
Or
But
is it an infiltration issue?
It's a much larger issue than
Right.
than this one additional home.
Right.
But it's a municipality issue, it's not.
Yeah, it's not this applicant's
Yeah, it's
issue.
not before this applicant.
He's not
And-
No, I
and-
understand.
And in addition to that, the designs that's being placed before it right now is actually going to ameliorate the problem of this water flow as far as they're developing it. And every time this is before the board is making each property better as it goes on for this.
When you say water flow, are we talking sewage? That sewage water flow is my concern.
Before the
Second.
plans that they're talking about this, okay, the rainwater would be flowing without any impediment whatsoever.
We've gotten flooded on if we're
I
talking
understand
weather
that. I
conditions,
understand
dry
what you're
days.
talking
I'm not.
about. I understand what you're talking about, but you're again, you're referring to something outside of this applicant's view,
Yeah.
okay? Any other comments from the board, public at this time? Okay, do we need to do any action?
Yes. The planning board needs to declare its intent to be the lead agency and send out a letter which we'll draft for the planning board. So if you may want to entertain a motion to declare your intent to be the lead agency.
Okay, is there any reason why we should not be the lead agency on this?
No.
Okay. Could I take a motion?
So move.
Second.
No objections? Passed. The applicant has to respond to your comments at this time. Anything else we need to do ask from the
I
applicant?
don't think so.
I would just continue the public hearing.
Adjourn the public hearing to a date certain.
Okay, Sandy, what's your next date?
Next day would be November 20th.
Does the applicant have any time, sufficient time to respond by November 20th, or you wish another date?
I believe we should be able to respond to it by then.
Very good, okay, so
So
motion
I think we should
to,
probably put it on for December 4th, because we have to wait the 30 days for lead agency anyway, so,
ah,
I mean.
okay.
December 4th is the next.
All right,
Okay.
December 4th.
Motion for December 4th?
So move.
Second.
No objections? December 4th, we'll see you back here.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, do we need a motion on the 90-day extension?
Yes. And just the applicant's representative.
Yeah,
Santucci and Shummer subdivision, request for 90-day extension.
Matt Snyder with the firm Tiffany Combs Welby, just here on behalf of the Santucci and Shimmers. If there's any questions, I can answer them.
Hold on. Members of the public, could you bring the discussion outside afterwards or prior?
Tom?
Could you, we're continuing here.
We've been continuing to work through the conditions. We've been meeting with Mr. Ciarcia to do some testing on the water and sewer lines to kind of progress that, which is one of the things that we'll need to do is obviously request from the water department a will serve, essentially a will serve letter. So we're kind of heading in that direction by doing some of this testing. But in the course of doing so, we are respectfully requesting another 90-day extension on the approval.
Okay. Any thoughts from the staff?
Seems reasonable to me.
Councilman Ward? Okay. I have a motion for this?
I move that we grant the 90-day extension.
Second. Okay, no objections?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
You too.
Good night.
Any other items on the agenda?
No.
Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second. Objections adjourned. Thank you.